All right.
Hi, everyone. We're here at the Lean in Pakistan headquarters at the Barak Center. And for Lean in Pakistan Foundation Story number 17, I am so excited to be featuring the incredible Mahvish Akhtar, who's not only journalist extraordinaire, but she chairs the Lean in Lahore Journalism Circle. Hi, Mahvish.
Hello. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You are such an amazing, accomplished, dynamic leader. And we are always inspired by you and thankful that you are such a pillar of the Lean in Pakistan and Lean in Lahore communities. Thank you for that.
Thank you, and thank you to you. Thank you to Lena and Cheryl for being an inspiration for all of us, really, and just making us who we are and who we are ready to become.
That is so accurate. Cheryl is absolutely amazing. And that, it's really accurate how you summarize that her inspiration and the book Lean In is something you and I have discussed before.
Right.
And
Right.
it's not only inspiring, but we have many favorite parts that we go over.
Right. Right. We have talked about it, and in that, it's she herself is an inspiration, and like we were talking about before, as she said in the book, the women are not bossy; they're bosses. And
Yes, that is my favorite
right,
quote too.
and any little girl, young adult, female or adult woman, even on our stages of life, can relate to that. And the fact that she puts her own, examples in there, we can all relate to that. That we grow up being told, just you're too loud, um, you're being too loud, you're being too taking too much space, and just
Mhm.
all of that is considered bossy in terms of being in other people's space, but that's not being in other people's space. That's just defining our own space in a sense.
You
So
know,
really,
the
Cheryl has done
space
us a.
issue, the
Go
space
ahead. I'm sorry.
issue is so profound. It's beyond anything. I think it's talked about not enough, if you ask me, because a woman's space, like Virginia Woolf's A Room of Her Own, is a very important way of looking at what your voice is, because we can use the
Hmm.
word space, you can use the word room, you can use the word voice. And one of the things that I love about Lean In is the importance it places on women
Hmm.
being comfortable, bold, assertive, take ownership of their
Hmm.
voice, their space, their room. A woman can
Hmm.
enter the room with meaning, with poignancy. And Mavish, one of the things is when you talk about space that I find so fascinating, specifically when you talk about it, is you're a journalist. And my background
Hmm.
is journalism as well, especially when I
Right.
was in my teens and my early 20s. And as a journalist, one of the keys when you're doing a story is to be as subtle and take up as discrete amount of space as you can. And yet,
Exactly.
the
Hmm.
whole work you do is about getting that story without being in your face necessarily. And yet, the lean in ideology
Hmm.
is owning a space. So I find that really fascinating dynamic.
Exactly, and that is actually it's been very interesting in my life. I've been a very kind of bossy person, as uh, Cheryl has said. I've been a very bossy person, but when it comes
Bossy,
to work,
really? What is the
oh
phrase?
gosh, that what
I think you're just a boss, Navish.
exactly what I mean. I am a boss, but I've been described as bossy, from the get-go. So now I'm realizing that I was always a boss, right? But when it came to work, I learned how to channel that into the bossiness that the world, described, channel that into being a real boss. I'll give myself credit, you know. So
And you
the
should.
being I do. I definitely do. So channeling that into my journalism and knowing how to, like you said, being discreet and being getting the story out in a way where I take up my space and not have other people feel threatened by it. Because the kind of world that we live in right now, we have to be we have to maneuver in a way where we don't have that that outward appearance of being, threatening. And I'm talking about when I started 30 years ago, decades ago. But then you learn from people, from books, like ideologies, like I wouldn't say just a book, but ideologies like Lenin and, individuals like Cheryl, that is not how you do make people comfortable around you, but that is not what it is. You keep taking your space, you keep moving forward, you keep getting louder in a way that people recognize you, and you become, your inhibitions are just a little bit less and less and less, and you know that you are just as good as anybody else in the room with you. Like you said, room and space, and you have to have, have your space and your room along with everybody else.
Especially when you look at imposter syndrome for so many women when they're doing something outside of their comfort zone or something trailblazing. And
Right.
it was so interesting for me to hear you talk about getting your voice louder and louder, because that is actually a tool. It's like a muscle you have to build. And one of the things of the Lean In circles is the concept of women supporting each other in building that muscle and taking it to the next level, your voice, making your voice more and more heard. Because having
Right.
even immediate support, even a sisterhood of support, gives one the courage when they go out into the world, when they go out into the force. I mean, your profession is really different because in Pakistan, a lot of the press clubs have heavy male domination. And when you go there and you are going to assert that you want to do maybe an atypical story or one going into areas that women don't normally go into, whether topic wise or geographically wise, it becomes really, really interesting. And so let's focus a little bit about you. What was Mahvish like as a little girl?
Oh gosh, I was difficult to manage as a little girl. I was the kid who was climbing walls to leave the school, to run out of school. That was me, and my school was very close to home. So I was born in Karachi, so for I don't know how long, weeks or months, nobody found out that I was doing that. Again, it was it was the 80s, I guess. So yeah, that's how who I was. I knew what I wanted, and I made sure I got it. Climbing literally windows to, I don't know, check what, I don't know. So that's how I did things as a teen. I was a handful. My parents didn't know where I was half the time, but that gave me the courage to made me more independent. Gave me the courage to. I'm not encouraging teens to go and do that, but gave me the independence to look into what I wanted, who I was, explore, and do what I wanted to do. Because everybody, you know how it is, especially again, my family is a little bit more conservative. So it was more of don't go into journalism. This is a very competitive field. You have to be out there with men, all of that. I was like, I want to be who I want to be. So yeah, it was a tough child. Nothing good I can tell you about. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of good that was that I had, but nothing I can tell you on the live that was that would seem like, oh, I served the
So
community and
Mahvish, it's probably only on the Lean In platform, because you and I know each other in many other ways, that
right.
we can really, like, you can really sit there and say you're difficult. I mean, there's probably no other space where that is intended to make you sound inspirational and good. That you
Exactly,
can
that you
take
can say that,
ownership
right.
of a word like difficult and say, I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I have standards, or I know what
Right.
I'm doing and I have a certain way of approaching things. So I'm actually proud of you of being very authentic and open in yourself. And I think there's a real safe space in the Lean In community for that. Can you talk a little bit about how you enter journalism and how you progressed to the level you have now? Because you're very, very successful.
Well, with journalism, first the idea was that I'm just going to be a writer because I did like to write since I was a little girl, and that was it. I just wanted to write, so I did that. And then when I started college, then we had after Karachi we had moved to the U.S. and that's where I did my high school and college, all of that. Um, then I just got interested in journalism, started taking some courses, and that's just what I felt I wanted to do, some reporting, then a little bit of investigative journalism. Did that, and it just felt really interesting to find things out, to talk to people in a way where um, I'm not a great talker myself, so I wanted to investigate things, get things people out of people's minds, and that was the psychology of people was always interesting to me. So I just kind of, that's what it got me to where I am right now with what I'm doing right now. So so the combination of putting out truth, stories of what's happening in the world, the it may maybe the political world or just the social world, and finding out how people are thinking and what's happening inside of their head and why would they do what they did. All of that combined just made it very interesting for me. So I did that for up until 3, 4, 5 years ago. Ran one or two businesses. We had to relocate. That kind of got in the way of that. But I've been working nonstop. Quit in the middle when I had my children and got pregnant with them. But then came Femmerang. Femmerang started. I had well in between. I was a director of a mental health institute on the board of directors, and we would just go for the meetings, monthly meetings, and sometimes I would attend on Zoom and whatever else way I could. And the thing that I noticed was that was in Pakistan and I was back and forth. The thing that I noticed that was interesting to me, and that was my connection to my analyzing my interviewees and the all of the journalistic situations from like a psychological point of view. So that was my connection to it. And so what I noticed was that the women there were really not getting the attention and the care that they needed because somebody would overpower them. Somebody would say, no, she can't. No, she shouldn't. No, this is not the right thing for her. We could never approach them alone in some way. So we moved back to Lahore a few years ago. I decided they needed care that was personal, one-on-one, where nobody else could interfere in. So now we provide discreet one-on-one care to women, give them information that they can relate to, that they can respond to, and connect with us. And we have professional psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, psychiatrists that we refer them to. And that's basically what Femmerang is. That's my journey.
Okay, and what
in a
about
nutshell.
What about a little bit of a moment or a story? Could you share a story or two when you really leaned into your career, when you focused on it, when you prioritized it, and obviously you're married with kids and you had their support in making a decision that maybe not every woman would have made, or maybe that you hesitated about making?
Well, the decision came before I got married. And the decision to work happened, or to have a career. It's not about work, it's about a career. There's a difference. You can work in McDonald's, right? You can work anywhere. A 9 to 5 is, I've always had a 9 to 5, always meaning as long as I can remember in my adult life. I was in college. I knew I had to get a degree, didn't matter in what. When I decided I'm going to be a journalist, I'm going to do this, what I just described. I'm going to put truth out there and I'm going to put it out in this particular way. I didn't tell my family for the longest time, but it was in my head, and it was in my head because I saw what was happening, and I saw how the direction the world was going in, and I realized for me, being a writer, putting pen to paper, was the only way that I could help the world, and that's all I wanted to do. And literally, there's no other story. Like I could give you some huge uh, story there, but in my mind, that was it. I wanted to be a writer, and the best way to put truth out there was do this for the world. And that was it. I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted it to be known. And then there was the struggle with the family, and that was it. I just wanted, just stood up to them and just said, that's what I'm doing. I didn't tell them for the longest time. And then when it came out, it came out. But when you know, you know, you just know. The matter of the truth of the matter is that you have to, can you stick to it? Everything else becomes secondary. Everything else becomes, you know. And then when I got married, yeah, I had told my husband actually beforehand, so it wasn't a matter of I got married and then I had to convince him. I told him marriage is on the condition of, are you okay with me doing this? And you know, he had his conditions and I had mine, so there was no conflict in that. I made sure his career went forth. He made sure mine went forth. There was no, the choice to stop when we had the kids was mine. Yeah, I still kept working part-time. I didn't start a business at that time because I knew it would be tough for me. I had them back to back. They were like parish twins. But my kids are still young, and we take care of them. When I have to make trips, he stays with them. He makes trips, I stay with them. We're managing it. But he knew from the start that this is how it's going to be. That's who I am. You know, it's just how it is. You manage it, and you make. And I've been lucky, I should say. I've been lucky. I'm not going to say that everybody is capable. Is able, not capable. Everybody's capable, but not able. And again, it's about making space for yourself. You know, it's about just kind of slowly making that space, leaning into as again, the ideology of it and what we've been inspired to do by Cheryl. That's what I'm trying to do with my life, and slowly and surely moving forward with it.
Why are you feel the importance of work in your life? You talked a few minutes ago about the lean-in moment for you was even deciding whether to work.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been a form of validation, self-expression, interesting way to spend your time? I mean, livelihood. What has been the value of your work to you?
That's actually very important. I wouldn't say question, but a very important aspect of my life and anybody's life. I know for a lot of people, it's a matter of, you know, livelihood, and maybe in the beginning it was about livelihood, but at this point, I think it's a matter of putting for me personally, it's a matter of knowing that there's way more to me in a broader sense. So there's two parts to it, I would say. I know there's a lot to be done in the world. So that would be an outward, external, what I can put out there, what I can offer to the world. Because if you know you are worth something, you know you can offer something to the world, and you don't want to leave that little section that is empty, if you can fill it. I don't know if that makes sense. But the other part for me is that there's so much inside of me. I believe in myself, so I know there's so much inside of me, so much potential, so much to give, so much that can come out. Why should I leave it in there? Why should I not let others or myself really feel fulfilled in a matter of, my children will, at this point, if I look at it, my children will feel fulfilled knowing that their mother has something to give. They can learn from it. They can become givers as well. Not now. I'm not talking in the sense of givers for others, giving themselves that contentment, that happiness that they have so much in them. That makes you happy to know that you're worth something. So it's just a value of, knowing your value really.
That really shares a lot, because passing on to your children the importance of knowing your value is something that is one of the most important things a parent can do. So it's wonderful that it's unfolded for you in this way. I'm really happy to see that you have balanced your life in such an inspiring way, which of course you have. Mahvish, what do you do for fun other than your writing and your family, and all of which I'm sure is a great source of joy for you?
Oh yeah, no, kids can be a handful. So yeah, I definitely need fun away from them for sure. I need that. Well, first of all, I love taking trips. So we
Okay,
go
so
out,
time away from them, how do you spend it?
That's fun for me, for sure. That's my fun. But yeah, first of all, I enjoy just going out, taking trips away, even if it's like a weekend away somewhere, out of the city, out of, the country. I'm sorry, I just lost electricity. I hope my internet is still here.
Yeah, it's perfect. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's one thing. I'm into movies, so we'll go watch a movie. A lot of our fun, the daily fun, depends on the kids' schedule. My daily fun. So go out to coffee with friends once in a while. Go out to a movie, weekend trip, that sort of thing. I'm not a very outdoorsy person because I don't like bugs and not having, running water and electricity. But yeah, those are the things. But if we're talking longer longer fun activities, then yeah, traveling. I love traveling. I love meeting new people, cultures, interacting with different types of people. Just even observing different cultures and different people and how they interact with each other. And I'm into history, so museums and art and plays and theater, that all of that. It's anything that's happening even in Lahore, I'm on it. I'll just tell my husband I'm not gonna be home today. You got the kids, and I'll go. So just stuff like that.
Well, I think that how you spend your time makes up your life. So it's wonderful that you are balancing it in such an important way, and your journalism has made a real mark. And the fact is, through this platform that you are able to connect and meet with and share a sisterhood with other women journalists is a beautiful thing. And we can't thank you enough, Mahvish, for all you do for women journalists, and of course for your being such a pillar of Lean in Pakistan and Lean in Lahore.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of the kind words, and I thought I appreciate you and Lean in and all the nice words that you said. And I can't say can't appreciate you enough, and can't appreciate Lean in and Cheryl enough for everything that I've learned from all this and everything that I've taken from it in my own life and in the work that I do. So yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.